Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Barfield talking to some of my favourite people and some of the world's biggest stars. And we've got a man for you today who I've been a fan of for many, many years. He's a tremendous actor who's starring in a brand new UK tour of Harvey. It's going to come to the West End. It starts in Birmingham and he joins us on the phone now. James Dreyfus, how are you?
Very well, Alex. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really, really good, thank you. And congratulations on this new play. I mean, it's been around a while. In the 40s, Pulitzer Prize and it's back. It's got to be good, hasn't it?
Well, it is good. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, it won the Pulitzer Prize just ahead of The Glass Menagerie by Tennessee Williams. So, yeah, it's sort of good, but because she didn't write too many plays, it's sort of fallen away play-wise. But, of course, they made that very famous movie with Jimmy Stewart, which still people remember extremely fondly. So it is great to have it back, yeah.
I mean, it started on Broadway. It's now coming to Birmingham, touring the UK. For you, is it still thrilling that they want you to be the star of it? I mean, I'm looking at the poster in front of me. It's a great compliment, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I think it's always a great compliment to get asked to play anything, frankly, these days. Because there's so few jobs around. But, yeah, no, it's really wonderful. And I'm also looking forward to it because it's a chance to sort of play innocent and naive again, which I haven't done for quite a long time because I've been doing sort of snide, nasty characters. So it's quite nice to go back to, being the dumbbell.
What's interesting about your career, I mean, you started off probably most famously on Gimme, 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 which I still think is tremendous. How do you view that now? I mean, it's still repeated gold, we can see it every night. Were those roles exciting to you?
I guess it really started off with The Thin Blue Line, which preceded Gimme, Gimme, Gimme. But I'm very proud of those roles and those shows because I think certainly in Gimme, Gimme, Gimme's case, it was slightly ahead of its time because we're seeing now, things like Mrs. Brown Boys, which has the same sort of anarchic type humour. And we got quite a kicking to start with when we started about 14 years ago. And it's nice now that it's sort of been vindicated a little bit. And people do enjoy it. Of course, some people hate it, but some people will hate everything.
Yeah.
But, I still am immensely proud of it. I kind of wish they wouldn't show it quite so often on UK Gold, but you can't have everything.
Well, do you still get paid for it? I mean, that's the big question.
No.
Oh, how annoying.
That's one of the reasons why I'm not that keen on it over and over and over. No, it's good that it's shown, but I just think, sometimes, just give it a rest.
And, of course, Mrs. Brown's Boys, you mentioned her. It's nice, that programme, to hear those old jokes from the 70s rehashed, isn't it? It's nice.
Well, yeah. I mean, we kind of did the same thing as well, so I can't be too sort of critical about that. But,
I suppose.
I mean, I was talking about the sort of same colour,
the
same colourful, the cross-dressing and the language. I'm just talking about that type of stuff.
Absolutely. Of course, Ben Elton helped with the Thin Blue Line. Then you move on, and of course, theatre's been the backbone of what you've done most recently. And then, of course, the Sky Show that I love as well with Sally Lindsay. I mean, you've got such variety in your career, and it must be thrilling, as you say, to still be in work because there aren't many people who have a 30, 35, 40. How many years have you been in the business, James?
25.
25, okay, let's leave it at that. But, I mean, it's thrilling, isn't it? Because so many people come and then disappear.
Yeah, no, listen, it's very lucky if anyone can make a living at being an actor, they're doing well. It's got nothing to do with, how famous you become or how much money you get. Frankly, if you can keep going, because it is all about longevity. And, what else do you do if you've been doing this for 25 years and suddenly the roles stop? What do you do?
Yeah.
You've got no training in anything else. So, I do consider myself very lucky just to keep working. And I think most actors think like that. They're not under no illusions. But it's always to get a new part. It's always makes me go, oh wow, that's fantastic. Because it is cyclical, the life of the actor. You go up and down and hot and cold and in fashion and out of fashion. So yeah, pretty lucky.
And of course, when we look at this show, I mean, it is a comedy, but Harvey's a big play role, isn't it? I mean, there's a lot to do in it. How intimidating is it on a scale of 1 to 10?
Well, at the moment, I'm finding it sort of on 9.
Right.
Because
that's quite a lot.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully that'll go down, but at the moment it is quite intimidating. It's because I've got someone next to me with a tennis ball on a stick, holding it at a rabbit's height, so I know where this rabbit is. But hopefully over the weeks, it'll get easier and not quite so confusing. But yeah, it's always intimidating to start a job, especially with great cast that we've got at the moment. But that'll go down, and I assume just personal nerves will come up.
For those who don't know anything about it, tell us the story of Harvey and what you do within the play.
Okay, in a nutshell, it's basically about this man called Elwood P. Dowd who believes he has a best friend, and he lives with his family, his sister and his niece, and of course they're humiliated by it, so they try and get him committed to an insane asylum. The sister ends up getting committed herself, and Elwood P. Dowd is let loose, and all sorts of shenanigans take place, which I won't say because I don't want to ruin what happens, but it all ends up well, put it like that.
Yeah. The rabbit and the comedy of it bring a lot of shtick and farce to the show. How are you playing that? Are you going to do it sort of dry, unknowing, or do you camp it up or shtick it up? How are you playing it?
No, there's no camping it up at all. It's very unknowing, very honest, very innocent, not naive, but innocent. There's no camping it up at all. I mean, my character, I would sort of say, he's the funny person in the play. He's the lead. He doesn't have a journey he goes on. Everyone else has a journey around him. And I wouldn't say it's high fast. It's sort of, it's low fast. It's not a lot of running in outside of doors.
Yeah.
But everyone else has the farcical moments, whereas I tend to wander on quite slowly and do the bits, then wander off again with the rabbit. So, it's like I said, it's a bit of a departure from what I usually do. But everyone else has got the sweaty bits, so I'm actually quite relieved.
What's it like going from the West End, where you've done a lot of work, to taking it to the provinces, and then it's going back, of course? Does it have a different sort of flair starting it somewhere like the Birmingham Rep, which is such a legendary theatre? Is it thrilling to take it out of London and then sort of get it ready and bring it in? How does that feel?
Yes, it is. It is, because they're very warm audiences. I found in Birmingham, I've worked a lot there. Outside of London, so you actually get it gives you a real boost, especially when you're starting something. So I always prefer, to start out there, because they tend to give it a sort of quite a good vocal reaction and a warm reaction before you come into London, where maybe people are a bit more jaded or cynical about the theatre. You tend to get a sort of less response. I mean, I'm not saying that people don't love it as much. It's just the reaction is possibly a bit more muted. So, I do love going to places like Malvern and Birmingham and Richmond and Brighton. They really they are different kind of audiences.
And it's a relatively short tour going back into the West End. I mean, it's interesting, you talk about the audiences in London. Of course, many of them don't even speak English. How does that work with a show like this? Because it's so wordy, isn't it?
I think they're going to be, they might be quite confused, because they don't, the rabbit, they'll probably be told it's all about a rabbit, and I'll come out the end saying, where was the fucking rabbit? Where was the rabbit? I think it'll be quite interesting.
Did you get to see this before? I mean, or are you going into this just blind with the film and with the knowledge of the past?
I only saw the movie of it. I knew it was on Broadway in 2012 with Jim Parsons from The Big Bang Theory, and I heard that went very well, but I've never seen it. And actually, I'm quite glad I've never seen it, because I don't want to sort of really, it's a cliche, but I don't really want to be influenced by anything. I'd rather just see what Lindsay Posner, the director, and I come up with.
Yeah. And as for the churning it out 8 times a week, how much pressure is that on you physically and vocally? I mean, do you wake up in the morning sort of terrified that the voice won't be there, or do you just have to get over that neurosis?
No, I'm not too worried about the voice. It'll be all right. It's not Hamlet, put it like that.
Yes. And are you one of those touring actors that makes the best of where you're going? I mean, before Malvern and Birmingham, will you go out and see the places, or do you sit in a hotel and just sort of watch Loose Women?
Well, actually, we don't, because we're doing 3 matinees a week, so we're not doing Monday nights, you see. So actually, I won't have a lot of time to go out and do anything. So pretty much, from hotel to theatre back to hotel. So unfortunately, that's just the way it is sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's not like I haven't seen the cities before. So.
And is there a pattern of how quickly it goes in, and you remember where you should be at what point, and what point in the script you should be moving this or turning there or standing here or moving there? Does it for you happen gradually, or do you walk in one day and you go, I've got it?
It sort of happens gradually. It's really I learn my lines and my moves through sort of repetition. Doing it during the day. I very rarely go home and sit and learn them off the page. I find that very difficult. So I tend to it's just by doing the same moves and roughly the same time as the speaking, and you'll find that sort of one helps the other. If you're standing in a certain place, you'll remember the line, or you remember where you're supposed to be. But so it comes in a bit. So I would say gradually. Hopefully by about week 3, it should have all gone in.
Congratulations to you. Thank you so much for talking to me again. I last spoke to you when you were in The Producers in the West End, which for me is probably my favourite musical ever. You bring such character to these roles, and this is completely different. A chance for you to see James Dreyfus in the new UK tour of Harvey. It's going to be coming to the West End, and you can see him first at the Birmingham Repertory Theatre. He'll be there from the 6th to the 21st of February 2015, starting this UK tour. Really good to talk to you, James. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. You take care.